That's Mississippi. I said one Mississippi, there's a magnolia tree. Two Mississippi, where a mockingbird sings out on his limb, whistling that sweet soulful hymn. I said three Mississippi, to this land called home. I'll breathe Mississippi till I'm dead and gone. Just carry on, I'll carry on, Mississippi.
Welcome to the Only One Shot Golf Podcast. I'm Jim Gallagher Jr., and I'll be your host. We appreciate you listening today, and we've got another nice fun returnee to the podcast. That's Alexis Rather. She's the women's assistant coach at LSU for the golf team there. She's been on a couple times, and she was recently named the assistant coach to the Palmer Cup team for USA with alongside Garrett Runyon. We asked about the honor, and we're going to talk to her about that. She assistant coach of the year, so it's a lot of great honors. She's been with the program 14 years and understands SEC golf, and I can't wait for you to get to hear from her. She's got some cool stories that she has along the way, that she and her dad have gone to a lot of different basketball arenas in the last couple of years, so we'll hear about those. So in a moment, let's get Alexis on the line. Well, let's welcome my good friend and LSU women's golf coach, assistant coach, I should say, and the newly named assistant coach to the USA Palmer Cup team, Alexis Rather, to the podcast. Alexis, what a great honor you've just been given.
Well, the honor's all mine.
No, I mean to be on the podcast.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is pretty cool. Second invite, so I feel pretty special.
Well, you're great. You're one of the best to have on here. But let's go back to what you just recently been named the assistant coach to the USA team. How cool is it that you're going to be assistant coach to the USA Palmer Cup team?
Man, what a great honor. I've been really fortunate throughout my career to have a lot of great people around me that make me look good, and just to have the opportunity to interview for a position like that, to be able to represent my country and be a very small part of the legacy that Mr. Palmer has left. It's just truly an honor to be able to do that, and to be able to do it at such an incredible venue there at La Hinch. Just really excited. And then to be able to do it with Garrett. We both came to LSU about 20 years ago as, bright-eyed freshmen, and to kind of be going through all this together and get this opportunity together is going to be pretty special.
Yeah, you mentioned the process. Take us through that process. I had Garrett on, and we talked about the process for him and the picking the team. But how about your process in the interview you just mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they've got a committee together, and then there's a pool where they whittle it down to 5, 6, 7 people, there's certain check marks you have to hit. I think I kind of got thrown in the pool as a result of receiving the assistant coach of the year last year, and then they narrow it down to 2 people. And then there's a Zoom interview. You're asked questions about the event, Mr. Palmer's legacy, things like that. And then kind of from there, they send that to the committee, and there's a vote. And very fortunate to have been selected.
How do you prepare for something like that? I mean, you get the call that says, hey, you're one of the nominees, and all of a sudden you probably got a week or less than that to say, oh, okay, I got to get this together. How do you prepare for that?
2 days.
2 days. Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah. So you could argue that. You could also argue that it makes your answers authentic, and you kind of have to roll with the punches there a little bit. But you know me well enough. As long as we've known each other, I'm a little bit of a history nerd, stats nerd, and all that. So it was cram time for me, trying to figure out a lot of the logistics of the Arnold Palmer Cup and Mr. Palmer's legacy, and all of that. But it was enjoyable for me, and, just a really great process to have the opportunity to go through. I hadn't had a whole lot of interviews, so that's good practice for me as well. And hopefully didn't fall on my face too bad.
Well, you got the job, so I don't think you did.
Yeah.
You're a great communicator. But, you mentioned Mr. Palmer's legacy. What would you say his legacy was? You were young watching him, when he was kind of finishing up playing, but you know the history of Arnold Palmer, and you're a big history person.
Yeah. Well, being around you for as long as I have, I mean, you've been very forthright with telling a lot of stories, of your time with Mr. Palmer. And one of the things that you said that's kind of resonated with me is, you'll remember the things that he said, and you'll remember, some of the things that he did, but you'll always remember the way that he made you feel.
Yeah.
And that kind of has resonated with me when you said that, and just shows the impact that he made on people that he interacted with, but also, like myself, who never was fortunate enough to meet Mr. Palmer, I am a beneficiary of, the legacy that he has left in the game, growing the game. The Golf Channel, all of those things that he had a hand, these endorsement deals that these players are getting today. I mean, in large part, that was, due to Mr. Palmer getting those early on. So, his legacy certainly extends from his time playing down to our kids now, and juniors.
Yeah, he made you feel like you were and you hadn't met him, but he made you feel like you were the only person there. Like it was just you and him. And I think that's a special trait, that he looked at you straight in the eye. And Garrett and I were, he was telling some stories about him, and, he believed in, take your hat off before you go in the clubhouse, and all the things he believed in. And it resonated with Garrett too. I mean, it's still to this day, I think it affects some of the decisions he makes, how he acts, and how he's, presents himself. I think he told the story where he was at the coaches or seminar or whatever, and he's the only one that had the hat off, and someone asked him that. And I just think that's what, some of the things, Mr. Palmer would tell us as professionals, make sure when you sign your name, they can read it. They ask for your signature, not your scratch. And I think, I try to make an effort with that now. Sometimes you get, not that I'm signing a bunch of autographs now, but when I was doing it and you were signing a bunch, you try to make it where you could read it. Sometimes I'd let the second A out in Gallagher. That was just, I don't know why I did that, but someone said, hey, you spelled your name wrong. But I made the A and the G.
A long last name.
Yeah, I made the A and the G kind of match up, but it was always fun to do that. But you mentioned the history of Lahinch, built in 1895. I think 1926, Alistair McKenzie came in and redid the golf course, and they've had so many great events there. How cool is that to go to a place like that? Have you? I know Garrett said he recruited over there in Ireland. Have you been over there, and how cool is that going to be to make that trip?
Yes, been to Ireland. We flew into Dublin and drove up into Northern Ireland. Recruited at a place called Ardglass there a number of years ago. But I've never been to Lahinch.
Okay.
We have a young lady on our team, Anya Donegan, who's a member there.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool. She was actually the first text that I got after it was announced that I was named assistant coach there. Hopefully she'll be over there with us. Maybe she'll be on the opposing team. So, hope she gets that opportunity for sure, but we'll be on opposite teams that week if she gets that opportunity. But I know she said a number of great things about the golf course, and have heard a number of great things from other people as well. So the opportunity to be able to walk around a place such as that, I mean, this game of golf has given me personally just so many great experiences, met so many incredible people, in the past couple of years. And I think a lot of this is a, indictment on where we are in college golf right now. The venues that these young people are getting to play. I mean, our team has played Albany in the Bahamas, Seminole, the Alotian Club. Anya and Ingrid had the opportunity. Carla had the opportunity to play Augusta National Women's Amateur. We've had players play at Bel Air Country Club and the USAM. Anya played in the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. Thomas played in the Curtis Cup at Marion. To be able to, that old saying, venues matter. I believe that they do. And so to be able to go and walk around such an incredible venue as LaHench for a few days, it's going to be really special.
Do you ever have those pinch me moment? Like, I can't believe I'm getting to do this. Do you ever have that moment or moments?
All the time. We Garrett and I kind of laugh about that. I mean, the places we've gotten to go recruit, gotten to go coach, it's just the opportunities that we've been given through this game. Just very grateful, grateful for that. But yeah, we've been extremely lucky the past couple of years with the pieces of property that we've gotten to walk around and the history of those places. And so looking forward to adding another one to the list.
How important is teaching and passing on to these young players that you're coaching the history of the game?
I think it's very important. There's been a lot of people that have come before us that has given us these opportunities to go to these places. I listened to Missy's podcast a couple of days ago that she did with you, and she was talking about it, the U.S. Open, having the former winners there, and how cool that was for them to have gone through what they went through and to see where the tour is now and all that. And I do believe that that's extremely important because there were people who made some sacrifices and all that to where these student athletes can do what they do today, for sure.
Yeah, Arnold Palmer, you mentioned him. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
He did it, I think, for the game in general, not just for the men's side. I think for the game in general, he made it cool. Now, Tiger Woods took it to a whole another level of cool.
Wow.
But if it wasn't for the Palmers and those guys and the gals, the Nancy Lopez's and all the founders of doing that for the LPGA, you wouldn't have it.
Sure.
You mentioned those cool experiences. Or any share with us a couple of the cool experiences that come to your mind right now that you've had that you will always cherish.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Latana Stone on the phone yesterday, and we were kind of talking about a couple of things, and one of the coolest things I've gotten to do is go to that Curtis Cup at Marion and watch her compete for the United States and be a part of that winning Curtis Cup team. You talk about growing the game. I mean, how many young, little girls were out there getting autographs from the players and how great they were with those young people, because they were them, at one point in time. So, and then to be able to do that at such an incredible place as Marion was really incredible. Walking around Pebble Beach this summer with Anya. And we got there early enough on Wednesday. She was playing 9 holes in the practice round. And so we kind of passed around the inside the ropes pass and, getting a picture there with her and Garrett on the 7th green, the iconic 7th green there. So, all of that's fun. And, just I get a lot of joy out of they work so hard.
Mm-hmm.
They work incredibly hard and they're really good people. And so to see them get these incredible opportunities and then to be nice enough to invite Garrett and myself to be able to experience this with them. I mean, that's just not something I take for granted. Very appreciative about, and, seeing them happy, seeing their joy. I mean, winning the SEC championship in 22 and seeing how happy they were, seeing fruits of their labor there was a lot of fun. Seeing them win the Darius Rucker last year, which is an event we've had a lot of success in, to finally get to bring that guitar home and listening to didn't know Ingrid played guitar.
Really?
But she does.
Wow,
yeah,
I didn't know that either.
She played, tuned it up and played the guitar for us on the plane ride home. So
very cool.
That was kind of fun.
Did it ever enter?
Did
it ever enter your mind? And you've been coaching now for 14 years, and you were a player, and we'll get into that in a minute. But did it ever enter your mind that you're living this dream, and you're telling me all these cool things that you're coaching and representing your country? I mean, did that ever enter your mind when you got into coaching that you were striving to win championships, but now that you've done that, this has had to be a pretty cool journey?
Absolutely. Like I say, try not to take any of this for granted. Growing up in little Tupelo, Mississippi, I was very fortunate. My parents sacrificed a lot for me to be able to play and all that, but it was mostly regional, and we drove everywhere. I mean, I took my first flight, I think I was a junior in high school, and all of that. So certainly a working class family and all that. And now I can't tell you how many flights I've been on and, all of that. So, certainly wouldn't have imagined be here, being a part of these great experiences with these great young people. And, just incredibly grateful for that.
You know what I hear a lot of coaches is their dad's coached or someone in their family coached. Your dad coached. Now, I would have loved to play for your dad. He's quite the character. What are some of the things you've learned from him that now, after 14 years, you're kind of pass it on to these players you're coaching?
Yeah.
Well, the good stuff, not the bad stuff.
Yeah, right. I was very fortunate. I had two very supportive, loving parents, and Dad still plays every day. He just has an incredible love for the game, which I think he passed down to me. Hard work, and in this kind of weird way, a little bit of independence with my own game and my own career and decisions. He never told me to go practice. He never, made me do any of that. So just this kind of freedom to, own that, which, is not always the case. I think that, the older I get and the more I'm in this business, I think that was a gift that he gave me that, I think has led for me to be independent in this job and hardworking and all of that. And I think he instilled that in me.
Have you reached out to any of the other past coaches of the Palmer Cup or any of the college coaches maybe for some advice? Because I know it's a different format. You're mixing the guys and the gals. So, and I think Garrett's going to rely on you a lot. He hadn't told you that probably yet, but I'm sure he's going to, as he does every day for you. He did mention, and it's true that he could be successful. Like you said, it's a team effort. But what are some of those other coaches that have done this in the past that they've helped you out with?
Yeah, I had a great conversation with John Woodhouse about 45 minutes a couple weeks ago. And he was very generous with his time and his knowledge and his experience of his time at Rich Harvest Farms. And, USA was victorious there. So I took away a lot of nuggets there. Also talked to Ryan Potter.
Yep.
He did it a couple of weeks ago. I talked to Lauren DeBaschi when she was at Stanford. She was there with Mick Potter at the Alotian Club. Got a call into Courtney Barrett, so hopefully we'll talk to her this week. But just talking to the people that kind of were in these shoes before me to figure out exactly what I'm getting into. Like a little bit of my personality to make sure I'm not no stone goes uncovered. Because obviously I understand the spirit of the Arnold Palmer Cup and want it to be a great experience for the players and for Matt and Dudley and Garrett and myself, but I'm also competitive, and so want to put best foot forward and give our team the best chance to win over at Lynch.
You're going to be prepared. They're going to be prepared. I assure you. I know you well enough. You're going to do that. I asked Garrett this, and you've seen a lot of cool coaches, Coach O, so many great coaches at LSU. He's reached out to them. Have you reached out to them too, and maybe taking some of the stuff they do? Coach Kelly is a big golfer, he told me, and Kim,
sure,
is a big supporter on the women's couple of national championships the last couple of years of baseball and women's basketball. Have you reached out to them and maybe got some advice from them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the great things about LSU. I mean, pretty much everybody here is willing to help each other out. It's kind of one of those things like, everybody's pulling for everybody here. Because we want that culture, we want that winning culture here at LSU. We want our student athletes to come in here to go to class with Olympians and All-Americans and future pros. We are very lucky here in that we've got some really great coaches who are very, willing to give away some of their secret sauce for sure. Kim obviously has had a tremendous amount of success here in a short amount of time. Jay Johnson has been great with baseball. They just won the national championship last year, and he's helped us out with some things. Jay Clark, they made the Final Four in gymnastics last year. We're very close with him and his staff, so we're very fortunate in that we have these resources here to kind of pick their brain and make our program better. And that includes former coaches. I mean, we're talking about the Palmer Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Maneri is out at our facility all the time, former baseball
Right.
coach, won a national championship, and he had the opportunity to coach the USA baseball team. So Garrett and I were kind of picking his brain on his experience with that and everything. So we are incredibly lucky to have those resources here for sure.
And I think another cool thing, and the successful programs have this, is the men and the women's teams kind of on the golf team side of it kind of support each other, and you practice at the same area.
Absolutely.
They're going through the same thing. And Garrett says
Yeah.
that was a big part of that too. It's so important for the success. And I think that's why it has been successful. Even though I wear orange, I've always felt that purple and gold is I'm always welcome there. And I do have a wife and a sister and a daughter
Yeah.
that have that. So I've always felt welcome there. Even though you do tease me about certain sports when that happens, but. Yourself, you chipped in at the NCAA regionals, sudden death playoff to get your team to the NCAAs. You accomplished so much as a coach and just in playing. I just where does this stack up now with being named the assistant coach? And I keep going back to that because it's such a cool honor for the USA team. That's got to be right there at the top of the list, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I've had the opportunity to represent the USA as a junior. I went over to I'm honestly not sure if they still have it or not, but the Aaron Badley Championship it was over in Fiji.
Okay.
My senior year of high
Wow.
school, and I went with another young lady who was my age that ended up going and playing for Duke. Her name was Jennifer Pandolfi.
Mm-hmm.
She was AJGA player rep on the girls' side, and she got to pick anybody she wanted. She picked me, and I was like, you bypassed like 120 other people in the rankings to get down to me. But I went over there with Brian Harmon, Patton Kazire.
Wow, that's cool.
A guy named Philip Francis and Brett Lang,
Yep.
who ended up playing at Vanderbilt. So there was some pretty incredible talent over there, and so that's kind of the only time I've experienced anything close to this. So that was just such a incredible experience being able to to wear the U.S. flag and all of that. So I'm certainly looking forward to do that again. But yeah, this is certainly one of the coolest things that I've been asked to do for sure.
So you take your first flight your junior year in high school, and then you go all the way across the world by your senior year.
Yeah.
I'd say you knew somebody knew what was going to happen, and you're going to do a lot of flying. The LSU team starts up this spring. I asked Garrett to kind of grade their fall, and they had a couple players not playing a couple of events. But how would you grade the fall?
Yeah, we had two, I would say, really good tournaments. Shot, I think, 31 under par there to start the season at Charleston, Yeamans Hall, which is another incredible venue.
Mm-hmm.
And finished second there to Ole Miss, who played incredible that week. I'd say Vanderbilt, we just played okay. It was a really strong field, just kind of couldn't get anything going. We played better there this year than we did last, so a little bit to build off on there, but little average finish. Then we go up to Medina in a really good field and win there, which was pretty cool. And then go to Old Waverly, which is always fun for me going back home up there for a couple days. We were without Ingrid and Anya, who were at the World Am representing their countries. And that's just an incredible opportunity for them that they've earned, and we're going to try and be supportive of them anytime we can with stuff like that. So we were certainly missing two of our core there, but a lot of positives from that. In that we got some experience. Elsa Svensson, who was a key part to our SEC championship win and the run we made there in 22, has been kind of on the shelf. Had some nagging injuries, so it was her first start in over a year. So it's great to see her back out there. Jordan Fisher, whom I think is going to be a really good player for us. She's a freshman, got her first start there as well. So we got some people, some experience that maybe wouldn't have necessarily gotten that opportunity at this point yet. up there at Old Waverly.
That's kind of cool, though, for you to go home, and I know you support them, but I asked Garrett about this. She got Taylor Riley. Her dad kind of was a pretty good player on the PGA Tour, kind of Tiger's right-hand man at the Ryder Cup. Her mom played at the LSU. You now have coached. I'm not saying we're old, but you now have coached. Of course, you weren't there. Sissy's much older, but my daughter, who's Sissy, my wife played there. So that's got to be really cool to have. That says a lot about your program, and I think that's what Garrett says. He says that we want great teams, but we want a great program. And you've got parents sending their kids to y'all. That's got to be pretty cool. When Chris went over and helped the girls, I mean, you went over and listened, because anytime you get a tip from him, they said he gave some pretty good tips. That's got to be pretty cool to have them around every once in a while.
Absolutely. There's such great people, Michelle and Chris, and so unassuming, Chris is.
Mm-hmm.
He's had so many great experiences and has played at the highest level out there, and so he's certainly got a lot of knowledge to impart. And so we talk to them a lot, so we're constantly picking. Michelle was a really good player as well.
Yeah, played the tour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, played the tour, all SEC performer for us here. So we're certainly very fortunate to have people like that around our program, and have, their children, and trust them to come hang out with Garrett and I for a couple of years. And, I think that also, says a little bit about not only our program, but LSU in general. I mean, it kind of, that purple and gold kind of gets in your blood. If you look at our current staff, I mean, you've got Garrett and I, who went to school here. Katie O'Brien, our director of operations, went to school here. Corey and Pam, who are our trainers, they went to school here. Taylor, academic advisor, went to school here. Dustin, our strength coach, went to school here. So, everybody is, you kind of come here, you fall in love with it, and you stay, and you're invested in these young people, and you want to see them succeed. So I think a lot of that goes to the culture of LSU as well.
Yeah, you mentioned culture. VJ talks about culture all the time. The culture at Old Waverly, the culture at, Mossy Oak over there, that whole culture, and that is a big part of it. I mean, the successful programs all have that, and that is cool. But this is kind of a little bit different. You and your dad tend to go to a kind of a cool basketball venue the last couple of years. You've been take us through some of those. I think you've been to Duke, Carolina, and you just had a great trip to Indiana.
Yeah, we kind of been established, I guess, through this podcast, but I have a great appreciation for history and traditions and things like that. And Dad and I've basketball has been one of the things that we have kind of always bonded over. We had season tickets there to Ole Miss, which is where he went to school when I was growing up, and we went to SEC tournaments, and senior year of high school we went to the Final Four in Atlanta, women's Final Four in Atlanta. So I went to the women's Final Four with you and your family there in Indianapolis when I was in college. LSU and Tennessee were playing up there. It's where Kim Mulkey, I think, won her first one.
She was, and unfortunately, you and I had to come back because both our teams lost, and you had a final to take. So Karen made me get you back to get your final taken.
Well, I appreciate you you doing that, helping me get back. But the past couple of years, I think we did the first one back in 2016. We went up to state of Kentucky, went to a game at Rupp, and went to a game at the Yum Center. And then I guess in 21, we went to a game at North Carolina and one at Duke. And then this past weekend, we went to one at Butler and Indiana. So it's fun. It's a memory that Dad and I make together. And it's cool seeing what all these different places do that's different than the other one. And we just really enjoyed it. And so, now we're trying to figure out what the next one is.
Yeah, where's the next one going to be? Where's the next one going to be?
It's a good question. I put a little Instagram story up yesterday taking suggestions, and Allen Fieldhouse seems to be the number one suggestion, which would be a great spot. Yeah. So we'll have to see how it shakes out.
Have you been to Knoxville? I know you've been to Knoxville, so you've seen that place at 21,000 people. But other than the PMAC, where's the coolest one you've been to? Yeah. I know you're going to say the PMAC. I mean, got
to. The Dev Dome, when that place gets rocking, it's an awful lot of fun. And it's been a lot of fun, in particular watching that women's program grow. the past couple of years, because when Garrett and I were in school, they went to 5 straight women's Final Fours, and so
Wow.
when we were in school, we were used to sellouts and watching Simone Augustus and Sylvia Fowles and
Yep.
all these incredible players that went on to do big things in the WNBA and in the Olympics. And then kind of fell off there for a little bit, and now Kim's got the interest back up, and obviously won the first national championship last year, so that's obviously a lot of fun. Cameron Indoor is going to be pretty hard to beat. The history there, the exclusivity of it, the size, and then to be able to see Coach K coaching there his final year, and it was a good game. So that one probably is tops right now, next to the PMAC, of course.
How about the gymnastics, though? You mentioned that earlier. That's a tough ticket as well.
It is. I'm sitting here. I've got my season tickets right here on my desk. We've got a group of three of us that purchase season tickets every year. They are so much fun to watch.
That's what I heard.
And Jay's, Dee Dee obviously laid the foundation there, and Jay is building on that, and they've got another great team this year. Looking forward to big things coming off that Final Four appearance last year. So I missed the one on Friday because we were up at Hinkle watching Butler play, but look forward to being at the next one.
Well, I appreciate you spending some time with us, telling a few stories and going through that. You are a history buff, and that's so important. And that's everything you said, Garrett, it backed it up. I wanted to make sure he wasn't telling stories, but everything he said was true. You were validating all his. Sometimes we got to pay attention with him.
Yeah. But I tell you what, that's nice what you said. That he said some nice things about me, but he's done an incredible job here. He's a great guy. Taking the reins over, and it's been a lot of fun coaching with him, and he's just done a great job, and is very deserving of the accolades that he's received, getting to be co-head coach of this Arnold Palmer Cup, and a couple times SEC Coach of the Year. He's certainly earned all of that, and it's been a lot of fun going on this ride with him.
He's come a long way from this first year as the women's coach, jumping over to that side, picking up with Kathleen. I wish you all had a couple more years with her, but it's been fun to watch that ride, because I think it's 6th year now is the head person there at LSU. But thanks for your time. Good luck to y'all this spring. And guess what? I get to see you hopefully in La Costa, new venue for the NCAAs.
Be great. We've got a team that's certainly capable of doing some special things this spring. That's why you play the game, to see how it shakes out, but certainly hoping to take care of business and see you there.
As Coach O would say, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Well, I appreciate Alexis Rather spending some time with us and sharing some of those stories and experiences. She is a fantastic assistant coach and has done a great job. Just coach, period. I mean, whether you're the head coach or the assistant coach, it takes a whole team to make that work, and I hope she gets an opportunity. She loves LSU. She's been wearing the purple and gold, like she said, for 20 years. So I'm glad to see her get that opportunity to go over there and be the assistant coach for the Palmer Cup team. But I appreciate everybody listening today. Special thanks to Steve Azar for allowing us to use his music. And get your copy of Only One Shot, written by V.J. Trolio. That's still available at Amazon. Until next time, remember, life or golf, you may only have one shot. Take advantage of it. Later.
We're one Mississippi where there's a magnolia tree. 2 Mississippi while a mockingbird sings out on its limb. Oh, and what a sweet soulful hymn. I said 3 Mississippi to this land called home. I'll bleed Mississippi till I'm dead and gone. Won't you carry on? I'll carry on. Mississippi, Mississippi. Mississippi.